Hi everyone. Today we will learn about fractions, the type of fractions, what fractions are really, and some basic operations on fractions. So what we are going to learn today is what is a fraction, types of fraction, how to find equivalent fractions, simplifying the fractions, and then comparing fractions, identifying which one is lesser or larger. So what is a fraction? A fraction basically shows equal parts of a whole thing. Assume you are having a pizza. So pizza as whole is one complete part and then it can be cut into multiple portions. That's where we call fractions. So let's take a look at the first image over here. The fraction of this one whole pizza is 1 by 4. So one part out of 4 equal parts of the pizza. So the 1 is called as the numerator and 4 is called as denominator. Similarly, if we take a look at this, a whole chocolate is divided into 6 equal parts, and out of that, this one part can be represented as 1 of 6 as a fraction. For the third one, we are having one full pizza being divided into 8 equal parts, and one part out of those 8 equal parts will be represented as 1 by 8 in terms of fractions. What are the various type of fractions? So we have proper fractions, we have improper fractions. Let's take a look at what is proper fraction. So for example, you have a fraction as 3 by 5. To identify a proper fraction, you need to check that numerator is smaller than the denominator. So here 3 is smaller than 5, meaning the value which is at numerator, the taken value from whole 5 parts is less than the complete part, right? So I'm taking 3 out of 5. So you're basically taking less than one whole, which is 5. As 3 is less than 5, thus 3 by 5 is a proper fraction. So how you would identify a proper fraction? Basically identifying that the numerator is less than the denominator. Moving to improper fractions. Let's take an example of 9 by 4. How we are going to identify whether a fraction is a proper or improper fraction. Here, numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. In that case, we would say that a fraction is an improper fraction. So basically, the value is 1 or more, meaning you have more than one whole value. So my one whole value was being divided into 4 equal parts, but how much I am taking out of it? I am taking 9, which is more than the one whole. That's why 9 by 4 is an improper fraction. Opposite to the proper fractions, in improper fraction, we'll check that the numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. As 9 is greater than 4, this is an improper fraction. Let's take a look at mixed numbers. So what basically mixed numbers are? Mixed numbers are going to have one whole number and a proper fraction. In example here, we are having 2 1 by 4. So 2 is a whole number and 1 by 4 is a proper fraction. As the number given here includes one whole number and a proper fraction, we call this as mixed number. So you have two whole parts and one part of the another whole. Now you may have examples in you may have examples like converting a mixed number into an improper fraction, right? So here I have 2 1 by 4 and you will have a question as converted into an improper fraction. So to do that, you have to multiply plus you have to use a multiply plus add method. So for a numerator, what you would do is you would take the whole number, you will multiply it by the denominator, and then you will add the numerator into it. So in our example, 2 1 by 4, we will find the new numerator of an improper function as 2 multiplied by 4, then adding 1, which makes it 9. So now the mixed number 2 1 by 4 is converted into 9 by 4 as an improper fraction. In equivalent fractions, now equivalent fractions are the fractions that have the same value even though they might look different. What does this mean is, assume that you have a fraction as 3 by 5. You need to identify some more equivalent fractions for this. So the method that we would use is multiplying or making the bigger fractions. For example, here we are having a fraction given as 3 by 5 and identify equivalent fractions for 3 by 5. So the rule is multiply both numerator and denominator by a same number. So we would identify a bigger fraction in the same sequence by multiplying a common number. So let's say step 1 is going to be multiply by 2. So 3 by 5 multiplying both numerator and denominator by 2 will get 6 by 10. So now 3 by 5 is actually equivalent to 6 by 10. Assume I need to identify one more equivalent fraction. We'll do multiply by 3 and so on. So 3 by 5 multiply by 3 to both numerator and denominator, you would get 9 by 15. Thus, 3 by 5 is equals to 6 by 10 and is also equals to 9 by 15. If you want to find some more equivalent fraction, you can continue using the multiply method and continue multiplying by 4, 5, 6 or any common number to identify some more equivalent fractions to the given one. Let's talk about simplifying the fractions. Simplifying fraction can be always done by finding the highest common factors for the numerator and denominator and use it to reduce the fraction to its lowest terms. Let's take an example of 12 by 16. I am to simplify the fraction 12 by 16. The method is divide the numerator and denominator by the highest common factor of 12 and 16. So the highest common factor of 12 and 16 is 4. We would divide both numerator and denominator by the highest common factor, that is 4, giving you 3 by 4. That is 12 divided by 4 and 16 divided by 4, giving you 3 by 4. As we are dividing both numerator and denominator by the highest common factor, the final fraction that you will get is going to be in its lowest term, meaning this fraction 3 by 4 cannot be simplified any further. Comparing the fractions. It's a very common question to be asked in the exams to identify which is a larger fraction and which is the smaller fraction, right? Let's take it with an example to identify between 3 by 5 or 4 by 7, which is larger. We are going to use the method of cross multiplication. What does that mean? That means we would multiply the first fraction by the denominator of a second fraction. That is 3 by 5, we are going to multiply by 7. 7 is the denominator of the second fraction, which gives us 21 by 35. And we would multiply the second fraction 4 by 7 by the denominator of the first one, that is 5. So 4 by 7 multiplied by 5 to each, both denominator and numerator, we are going to get 20 by 35. As the denominators are same now, that is 35, it is very easy to identify between the numerators which is larger. Thus, in 3 by 5 and 4 by 7, 3 by 5 is greater than 4 by 7 because after cross multiplication we identified the numerator of 3 by 5 is 21 and after cross multiplication by 5 the numerator identified for 4 by 7 was 20. So 3 by 5 is greater than 4 by 7. Great job today, guys. We have learned about types of fractions, how to identify a certain fraction type, equivalent fraction, how to simplify and compare fraction. You can check your understanding with the practice quiz link added onto the description. To share your comments and suggestions to us, we would talk about the various operations on fraction like adding fractions, multiplying, dividing and subtracting in our upcoming video. Thank you for watching.